you see things that you want to have changed, but you just can't get them changed immediately.
Right.
There's a process, and it takes time, and sometimes money, and sometimes you don't have a lot of either one of those. I think that's the most frustrating part.
Good evening and welcome to Captions. I'm Andre Bohannon, your host, and again, thank you for choosing Captions, knowing that you have so many other choices. I think you're going to find tonight's show a very interesting one and hopefully an inspirational and a motivational thing. Tonight, I'm going to be talking with two, at this segment, individuals who are in leadership positions who happen to be African American females. Sitting immediately to my left is Brenda Coates, and to her left is Rachael Parker. Ladies, thank you for joining us tonight at Captions.
Thank you.
You're
for having
welcome.
us.
What I wanted to do in this program was to highlight individuals who happen to be females and also happen to be African Americans who are making a difference in this community, as we realize that we have females who are making a difference on the state level and the national level. And I wanted people to know that here in Peoria, we're being well taken care of by two individuals who have taken on some roles of leadership, either by choice or by circumstance. And maybe you can expand on that. Let me start with you, Brenda. You are, I believe the title is Executive Director of the Peoria Housing Authority?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what I would focus with you, Rachael, is that you are a school board member with District 150.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me start again with you, Brenda. Can you kind of share with our viewers something about your background, where you were born and raised, and some of the early years as you were developing?
Sure. Well, I'm a Chicago native. I was born on the south side of Chicago. Proud of that. My parents, they were working middle class, and they really worked hard to send us to, they actually sent us to Catholic, parochial schools.
Okay.
That was sort of a dream that my mother had, and I thought it was, initially I thought it was going to be very, very strict, which it was.
Okay.
But what I found was that I grew accustomed to it, and the Sisters of Notre Dame really taught us a lot about values, and a lot of those values have just, they've stayed with me my whole life.
Well, that is great. Rachael, where were you born and raised?
I'm from Galesburg originally.
Galesburg,
Yeah,
Illinois,
born and
okay.
raised in Galesburg. I'm the youngest of 6. I ran track. When I started running track when I was 9 years old, running in the Amateur Athletic Union, and that's actually how I got through college, was on a track and field scholarship. So that's about it.
And how long have you been here in the Peoria area, Brenda?
I've been here since 1981, so Peoria's home.
Okay.
I was working for Caterpillar Tractor in Mount Joy, Iowa at the time. I was here on a trip visit to Peoria and met my husband, Tony, who is a Peoria native, and
Okay.
the rest is history.
All right. What about you, Rachael? How long have you been here in Peoria?
I came, well, when I was going to college, I came through the summers and stayed with my sisters and worked at Carson Perry Scott, actually, in the summer
Okay.
when I was going to Western, then transferred to Bradley. When I graduated from, or when I left Bradley in '82, moved to Oklahoma City, stayed there for 5 years,
Okay.
and then came back to Peoria in '88, is that right? '87. Came back to Peoria and been here ever since. So.
Well, Peoria has a way of attracting you and then holding on to you. I tell you, I came here in 1970, thought I'd be here 2 or 3 years, and here it is 2010. So,
Yeah.
but it's a good place to live. It's a good place to work, and if you happen to have a family, it's a good place to raise children and have a family. When you were younger, did you have any dreams or career goals when you were coming along, Brenda?
Yes, I did. I wanted to be like my mother because I loved her so much, and she had high expectations. She was a hard worker. She was an accountant, and I became, a person who wanted to be a numbers person, and that was my goal. To go to college, which I did. Attended Augustana College. Majoring in business administration, and I love accounting. Still love it today.
And you deal with a lot of numbers, don't you? In terms of what's the approximate size of the budget that you're responsible for as
the budget for the Peoria Housing Authority is approximately $15 million per year. That covers our Section 8 program, our public housing conventional program, and also includes the capital funds that we receive for physical improvements.
That's quite a bit of money to be responsible for. About how many employees work for you?
We have about 60 employees now. As you know, we've been downsizing staff as other organizations have over the years. At one time, say 5, 6 years ago, we had 100 plus employees.
About how many residents do you have that are part of your program?
In public housing, we have approximately a little over 700 residents. On the Section 8 side, we assist approximately 1,500 clients on the Section 8 program.
Goodness. Okay. Well, so you are still in numbers, but now you're dealing with numbers that aren't just numbers, but are dollars and people and those kinds of things. Well,
that's correct.
Well, that's great. How did you happen to end up as a person working in public housing?
I was looking for a job when I came to Peoria.
Okay.
And someone, mentioned, well, why don't you go down to the Housing Authority? They're looking for good people. And I thought, well, okay, I'll do that. I was hired in 1983. As an accounts payable clerk. And this was back in the days when we were, prior to computers, we were handwriting all of the disbursements in one of those huge ledgers. And of course, I'm an accountant. I enjoyed it. I was a numbers person. I enjoyed the work that I did. 6 months after I was there, the accounting manager resigned, and I believe since I had a degree, I was asked if I would like an opportunity to be the accounting manager, and I took that position. And I left the Housing Authority in '89 as the finance director because we were working a lot of extra hours, and I had 2 small children at home, husband at work swing shift, and it was just terribly difficult to manage. So I left and went to a small printing manufacturing company in Washington, Illinois. It was called RP Short Run. Great company, family owned, 35 employees. I was the accounting manager. I loved the job. I stayed there for about almost 6 years, and the company needed to downsize, and they were going to make my position part-time, and I really needed a full-time job at the time, so I started looking for a job, and the finance director position at the Housing Authority was open, and that's how I came back to the Housing Authority in 1994 as the finance director.
Well, that sounds very interesting. So you have at least some 20 years or so with the Housing Authority.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I think it's important for people to know that, because people look at people in their present position as like a snapshot. You came in, stuck to it, and worked your way up to the top. You didn't come in as the top, but you worked your way up as opportunities presented itself, and preparation was certainly there too.
Yes, that's correct. And I always believed, and this was something that my mother always, and my dad too, always taught us, you know, someone is always watching you. So you work hard, you worry about what job you have to do, and you never know. If you do a good job, eventually someone will recognize that you are performing a good job and keep a positive attitude. There are many people who do a good job, but they don't have the right attitude.